Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Boom. What do you think of that intro, Scott?
I love the intro, man. I was just absolute quality, man. Interesting conversations with interesting people. I'm in Austin, Texas. We keep it weird here too.
And here you are. We're going to have an interesting conversation today. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate and applaud the fact that you're here. And anyone that joins us today, thank you. All the gratitude in the world. Leave some comments in here. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you're doing and how you're doing. We're living in a crazy time right now, and we're all in this together, and, we're at different places, along this journey. However, stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane, and, do what you got to do to protect your family, your friends, and be present. Let's open up the conversation and dialogue and maintain that. So, Scott, Austin, Texas. I love Austin, Texas. I spent many nights at Austin, Texas, down on a few streets there, having some good drinks and good music. And so, how long have you been in Austin?
So Austin's been home since I moved here in 2001. I graduated from Texas State University. Now it was Southwest Texas State University, the Bobcats. But it's been home basically since 2001, except for about 3.5, 4 years where I was traveling the country and speaking and teaching my niche of things back in from 2010 to 2014, but came back, and Austin's just in my blood here. It's just something different about the city. Getting off a plane, you just feel the energy and the friendliness of it. And I've lived in Dallas for a little while, and a lot of friends in Houston. Grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, but Austin's just home.
I've always appreciated Austin, and like I said before the show, it was either Austin or Portland, and I ended up in Portland. However, it has its own brand of weird, so it's okay.
That's the truth. Sister cities and weirdness for sure.
Yes, exactly. So I want to talk a little bit about this whole thing you got going on, because it's unique, and I know it probably confuses a lot of people. Like, are you in real estate? Are you in mortgage? What is exactly this thing you call notes? And I know, considering the situation where we are right now, your services are going to be a necessity going forward, unfortunately, I'm sure. And so maybe walk us through the process of what you actually do and the service you provide. And let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to see if I can actually get somebody on chat while you're kind of going over that a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. So I have been in the real estate industry since 2000. There's an investor or a mortgage broker, or mortgage banker. But when everything hit the skids in 2008, I was very fortunate enough. I had a couple mentors that taught about the distressed mortgage industry. They'd made money during the savings and loan crisis, the RTC days. And then when everything was hitting the fan in 2008, they're like, Scott, you really need to be in the note space. And I'd been doing some owner financing and origination and working with other investors in this space previously, but when all the banks going out of business and my mortgage company at that point kind of coming to a standstill, I just kind of jumped from the origination side of business to starting to contact banks and see what they had in their portfolios that they were looking to sell off. So when I talk about the note business, I'm literally buying mortgages directly from banks and different real estate investment hedge funds.
Okay.
Primarily non-performing notes where somebody hasn't paid their mortgage in 6 months, sometimes 6 years. And we're buying that debt at a discount. And then our biggest goal, Russ, is to you reach out to the homeowner, reach out to the borrower, and try to come to some sort of win-win scenarios, like to try to get them back on track. I don't care what your country western song is. You laid off of work, been sick, divorced, dog died, grandma got run over by a reindeer. Let's try to, if you want to stay, you got to pay, but let's figure out something that makes sense. And since we're buying a lot of this debt where it's really non-performing, we buy it usually at a pretty good discount. And that gives us a lot of flexibility to work out with the borrower. Say, listen, okay, you owe 120 grand and a house is worth 100. Let's get you start paying again. And if you make 6 on-time payments or 12 on-time payments, we'll drop, the balance down to what the property's worth. and then maybe adjust your interest rate or forgive you 30 grand or structure your interest. There's a whole lot of things that we can do to make it a win-win for our borrowers, and that's what our goal is. I make the joke that we're trying to make America great again, one defaulted mortgage at a time for things out there. But it's and we're pretty successful about 60% of the time getting borrowers to start performing in some sort of fashion. But there's always those that want to play hardball with us or aren't going to respond to their mail, or they've moved out of the house, so we've got to take the legal route to do that. So that's what I've done basically the last 10 years. I've kind of known across the country as the note guy. There's a very small niche inside of real estate investing in the distressed note space. And we've done a really good job not only buying over $500 million in debt on residential and commercial properties, but also a really great job spreading the word and helping other investors get tap into this niche, teaching it, because there's a lot of moving parts. And it's a different mentality than your fix and flippers or being a realtor or mortgage broker. So that's kind of what we do is we buy debt and try to keep people in their homes if we can.
That's a fascinating industry, and having a little bit of experience growing up. My mother was a real estate broker, and then in '85 when the market tanked out, it was really tough. And in fact, I was a musician and I worked in construction part-time, and construction dried up. So I just music and continued to play music for a number of years. And it was really tough because there were so many people that were confused about the market and everything else. Same in 2008, when we had that dip, and it was, probably more than a dip. I'm not sure what they call it, but
the Great Recession is what they've labeled that now for the most part.
And so I anticipate, with this pandemic and everything that's going on with this, there are going to be a lot of people that, especially in the commercial space, restaurants are closing out and potentially for good. I mean, there are restaurants in New York that have just said, hey, this is our last day. We're closed. We're done. And so, I mean, the service that you offer is an incredibly valuable service. And what I hear you saying is that if you could restructure a piece of debt, and this is what a lot of, Wall Street investors do. They take a business and they restructure the debt and they bring it together and they keep it going and maintain it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's the mechanism that you use though is really, you buy distressed property, you work it out, and hopefully, I'm sure you have some amazing stories about people that have, turned around and done some great work and won back their property in a certain way. So
so let me clarify.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, we do exactly what Wall Street does. If you've ever watched The Big Short, we're not buying, bonds and stuff like that. We're literally buying the mortgage. So I literally become the bank on these people's debt, whether it's commercial or residential. So I'm literally the bank. I don't own the property. I own the mortgage, and the property is what securitizes that mortgage, makes it valuable. So if I'm going to take the property back, I would have to go to the legal route and foreclose or offer cash for keys to borrowers or some sort of agreement that they don't, about half the time borrowers have walked away from the property. So it's a matter of cash for keys or deed in lieu, or if they won't respond to us, then we've got to go to the legal route to take that property back. But we deal with so many borrowers out there. I mean, we've helped a lot of people that want to stay in their house. And I'll tell you this, for those that are struggling right now, that are stressed about the situation with this pandemic, that can't pay their mortgage or worried about their mortgage, do yourself a favor, take a deep breath. Nobody's going to show up at your house this month or next month. Your banks aren't going to start foreclosures. They do not want that bad press of being the big evil empire bank. Landlords sure as hell shouldn't be evicting either. We can get that later on. But the biggest thing I can tell you is communicating with your bank. For those out there, hey, if you're struggling or you've been laid off, it's better to call immediately and talk about that. Maybe there's some payment plans. Most of the banks are going to be doing immediate forbearance agreements where they're going to be giving you 60 to 90 days. They're just going to take this 2 or 3 months of payments and put it on the back face amount of the loan. So that's normal. It happens all the time. We're not going to see, I think, a big increase in foreclosures until 6 to 12 months from now. Once we finally get through this thing and the banks give some options, and then seeing what happens with the job market. I mean, I'm worried about the unemployment rate being at 32% like they talk about. Oil and gas being down, it's going to affect Houston.
Oil and gas is already down. I mean, it hasn't even crossed the news hardly at all. And you being in Texas, you understand how that impacts, especially Houston. I mean, my son's in Houston, and there've been a number of layoffs from his group of friends. So.
Yeah. But the thing is, too, you have to look at one of the things that we do a lot with, or my team does, I should say. I don't do it so much with my team and my servicers. It's just talking to the borrowers, just getting on the phone and talking about options. You'll find that a lot of times there's a solution. If somebody wants to stay in their house and they're working and they're trying to do what they can, we're going to work with that person.
Yeah.
There's times that we've dropped interest rates to 0%. Somebody's been trying to do, like a lady been trying to do a loan mod for 4 years when we bought the mortgage, and we dropped her interest rate to 0%. So she'd have her mortgage paid off in 7 years versus 30 years.
Right.
Because we bought it so cheap. We bought it such a big discount. She owed like 120 grand. Her house was only worth like 60. It wasn't any fault of her own that the market value dropped. So that's the thing. We're going to see price drops. We're already seeing that across the country with listings on the MLS being dropped and discounted down. You're going to see more of that stuff. So we expect to be busy, but it's just going to be another 6 to 12 months before the dominoes fall, before everything kind of filters through and stuff. And each state's a little bit different too on what they do. Texas, we do everything faster, fast highways, fast foreclosures, and fast executions. You know what I mean? It'll be faster here versus like Florida, which can take 9 to 12 months, or even like New York, New Jersey, which can be 2 years to foreclose. So wherever you're at and wherever you're watching this, just reach out to your bank and talk to them, find out what kind of options they're offering up, and it's better to be communicated.
Start the conversation.
Yep, exactly.
Start the conversation. So let's shift gears a little bit. I don't want to go doom and gloom too much. And I know that, and what I wanted to do, because I found it fascinating, because I have a little bit of experience around, and, I was doing, one of my clients was the Rich Club in Houston, and you're familiar with that, and Real Estate Investment Club. And there's some things that people want to really, hold on to. It's like they can't get past the block of, what do I do? They get stuck. And so what I hear you saying is just start the conversation, open up the dialogue and say, hey, here's my situation. Here's where I am. This is what I can do. This is what I'm unable to do. And just start that conversation with people.
Yeah, exactly. Just, if you've been laid off, hey, go file for unemployment like 33 million people did yesterday in the last week. Amazon, grocery stores, there's places that are hiring, and it may not be ideally, but it's something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
If you've got an extra room, maybe you need to rent out a bedroom to a friend who's maybe struggling.
I was listening to a conversation the other day on a podcast, and a guy in Seattle, because a lot of the people that are working in Seattle don't live in Seattle. They come to work for the week. So this guy took 3 of his bedrooms, installed a bathroom and a closet in each one of his bedrooms, or a little kitchenette or something like that. And he rented each one out as an apartment, three bedrooms out as apartments. He said he's making more money than his mortgage costs. It's like,
well, you have that happen in a lot of places. A lot of people you have that happen in a lot of college towns where people will rent the bedroom out to the student versus the house out, and they can charge $100 to $200 more per bedroom versus what it would be split, 3 ways is renting the house out. I mean, we've done that, and a lot of people use Airbnb, turn the houses into Airbnbs for temporary weekends when they've got home games or football games. Obviously we don't have that right now, and so a lot of people are scrambling on the temporary rental side. Airbnbs are really dragging out and stuff like that. So that's why you've got to get a little creative on things. And
I think that story going forward, Scott, is the fact that add a little creativity to your day, add a little idea, podcasting, broadcasting, all of the TV announcers, all of the broadcasters right now are doing exactly what we're doing right now. I mean, this is TV 2.0 right now. And I know that some of the broadcasters are hurting because of all the podcasts and all of the live streams and things that are taking place are taking a lot of ownership off of the main screen. And, their production cost is obviously different than my production cost. And you have a
mind, brother.
Yeah, talk about your podcast. Let's get into that. Let's talk about you're doing.
So I've been a big believer for years that we're all in the media business. We're all looking for eyeballs and earballs, but I think the podcasting side is one of the most friendliest niches out there. We coined a term in my field years ago called co-opetition.
Yeah.
We're all looking and competitive, but we all love to cooperate and work with each other to get best tips and things like that. I mean, I've learned stuff from you from watching your pirate broadcast here on LinkedIn the last year or so. But what I want to get at, so my podcast, we've had it for less than 3 years. It's called the Note Closers Show on iTunes.
Okay.
But we've crank out 3 to 5 episodes a week. It's a mixture of me teaching note investing on a nugget by nugget basis. And then we mix in interviews with people in our field, investors, vendors, experts. And then we also a little dash in of motivation and business mindset along with that too as well. So we just filmed episode 685 yesterday. About 650,000 downloads. And then we've also gotten the show syndicated on 17 different AM FM radio stations across the country too. So we get about 2 million hits to the radio station's websites as listeners, as we have 6 shows a week across that too. So if you're looking to learn more about the note investing side, hey, check it out, the Note Closer Show. There's a few other smaller podcasts out there, but we're kind of the 50,000 megawatt blowtorch when it comes to that niche. But it's just a great time.
Yeah, and but that's the point is that someone, a note guy from Austin can go out and reach a huge audience. When we define huge audience, let's considering the days of the pirate broadcast, when they had it at a tower in Mexico blasting across the entire US,
right?
And that's the origination of the pirate broadcast, is the idea that, you don't need an FCC license to come out here and do this. You could work outside the box and do a little kind of, something a little different. And you're doing exactly that. And I applaud and hats off, it's like,
I appreciate that.
I love that. And I've been doing, I taught a podcast movement. I taught a class, I think in 2014 in Dallas there. And I've been in podcasting, I've been broadcasting. I was, managing radio stations in Houston for a while and been in the business for a while. And it's just fascinating. I just love the fact that you're doing these things and setting an example of what can be done with other, a niche in notes that you're getting all these downloads every month from iTunes, and it's amazing. So hats off to you, man.
Well, thanks, babe. I mean, I'm fortunate we got a good team. We do a really good job with repurposing the content, filming it, recording live with video, then repurposing it on YouTube and creating a blog or throwing up on LinkedIn and, putting a full transcription on our website, then sharing a video across Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. So that's the thing is, once you get your systems down and you've got a message, the biggest thing is just showing up consistently.
Yeah.
That's really half the battle, I think, for a lot of people out there. Scheduling, the first thing we do every day. You asked me what I would be doing this morning if I was not stuck at home. And I'd be like, I'd be in the office filming a podcast, interviewing on one podcast or doing my own podcast for the most part. And it's just a matter of staying omnipresent with your audience. We all have a tribe. Seth Godin, the author of Tribes and so many other ones, he talks about that all the time. And we all have a tribe that need to be led. And in this time and day, I think we all need to be leading more, just at least sharing what's going on in our lives, since we don't have that availability to kind of hang around the water cooler or the coffee pot in the morning. Share what's going on, share victories, share little things that we're having fun. Don't forget to laugh. I think we all need a good laugh now and again, because it can be very doom and gloom and everything. And look, we're all going to be okay. Things are going to recover. It may take 6 months, may take 12 months, but you know what? We're all going to go back and look and say, hey, you remember that time we had that marshmallow roast out in the backyard? It's all about making memories.
Yeah.
And do what you can these days to try to be positive and have fun. If you're struggling, here's another thing. Don't struggle alone. Pick up the phone and call somebody, reach out.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are stressed and maybe introverts, and they're kind of hunkering down like a scared animal. Don't do that. Reach out to friends. Pick up the phone and call somebody. I mean, heck, if anybody wants to talk to me, they can just go to talkwithscottcarson.com and schedule 30 minutes, and I'm glad to vent and let you vent and do whatever you need to do right there.
Yeah, I have bookruss.com. Bookruss.
There you go.
Boom. one of the things I want to ask you though, because you've been in this for a while, you understand the game, the consistency, showing up is really key. What's the one thing that has surprised you after doing so many episodes and being syndicated? I mean, because it's not necessarily a simple process to get all these things moving. You know, it's like the flywheel. You know, it takes a little while to get it going, and once it starts moving, it seems like you get to a certain threshold, and then all of a sudden things start taking off. You know, and
I'd agree to that. The big surprise is just that I think a lot of people give up before they ever get rock and roll, and that's the thing that surprised me more. So if you're about passionate about something, this is going to take some work.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't get to where I'm at today overnight. It took 3 years and, you know, doing hundreds of episodes, honing my craft and getting better at it. And I look at the first few videos and I'm just kind of, I cringe at the Facebook lives I was doing and the camera being all kind of awkward and the lighting being horrible and the sound not being the best quality, but people still watch that stuff. And so that's the biggest thing that surprised me the most is I look back and it's like, wow, 3 years goes by like that.
It does go by quickly. It does go by
Yeah.
quickly. Hey, I want to give a shout out to a couple of people. Gabriel says, good morning. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gabriel. Gabriel's awesome. He's just got involved in the live streaming arena and setting some great examples for some people in this time. Love the new intro. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. She says good morning as well. So thank you, fellow pirates. You know, since now you're a pirate, Scott, you're invested. You're invested. So,
I'm a note pirate.
Yeah. Even Randy Martin up from Canada, up north. Hey, Randy, good morning. How are you doing? And I know we have Sherry Lawley. We have Gabriel, Michael Ray's in the house. We've got Lewis. We've got Azroth, Lori Knutson. I know there's a lot of people. John Gallagher's in the house. Fred Costa, Letitia from down from Houston. So she's in there. Susan Season. How about a video for older people on how to download the app in order to order food, so they they order food from home. That's a great idea.
You need to get somebody from DoorDash on or something like that, and it'd be an easy thing, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So these are all ideas that anyone can pick up, take off with, and generate. And my belief, Scott, is that everyone has a gift. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has a message, you know, and you just have to take the chance that, you know, you can do this, you know, and it's not for everyone, you know, it's not everybody wants to do what we're doing. However, it's available to everyone. You know, there's no lacking in opportunity here. So get creative in this time of space right now. And, you know, what I've seen, you've probably seen the same thing, is Zoom rooms where people are doing happy hour and just casual get-togethers. So have you seen that, or have you taken on that?
Yeah, we actually had one last night at 7:00 Central. We do usually a regular Wednesday night webinar podcast recording on some sort of topic with mass media and podcast. We kind of call it our marketing M&Ms, monetization and marketing. We did one. We had like 25 people on there, and not everybody came on camera. Only about 8 or 9 people wanted to share their camera to get on and talk. Other people just wanted to be there listening.
Yeah.
And so we were just sharing ideas and sharing what everybody's dealing with and how people are overcoming issues. I mean, we had professional speakers that have been, you know, their whole calendar's been canceled, and so they're doing other things by going out and interviewing people in their wife's associations. You know, talking with people that now they can't speak, they don't have events, but they're still getting the message out, the word out. We talked with another lady, Misty Phillips, who runs the Spark Christian podcast out of Houston, Texas. They had 150 people come to their event, and she's dealing with a lot of other organizations, church groups, and other things that can't meet in person now, and helping them say, okay, let's take it online. Let's do a Zoom room or a Facebook Live to still get the message out, still network. So I think that's the biggest thing. Is it's never been easier to do a show or a podcast than what it used to be. I mean, most people still think it's going to be crazy amount of technology. You're going to have all these big cameras, but no, like you said, if Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon's doing a live stream with a regular webcam and a crappy mic and not really good lighting, there's no excuse that you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
I sent an email out the other day to several
TV,
of our,
right?
I'm sorry, what was that? Was that Russ?
On national TV.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, our newscasters are doing, the news and the weather from their home for the most part. And I'm like, oh, you need to put some curtains up. It's too much of an echo in that room,
Yeah.
or somebody needs to send this guy a social light.
Yes.
But,
So
it's just getting out. It all starts with that first one, taking that first step and embracing the suck. We all suck at it at first, but you get better. Your 10th episode will be a lot better than your first one. Your 20th will be tremendously a lot better, and then you'll be off and rock and rolling at that point.
And it's amazing how my background. I'm here. It's like I don't have a fancy setup or anything like that. I got a light. A little bit of light. I'm in front of a window. It's sometimes of the year it's better than others, and it's like just do what you can with what you have and start getting it out there. And here's the beautiful thing about it, and Scott, this is that yes, those first few episodes may suck, and what happens though is you start to find your voice, you start to find your rhythm in what it is that you are putting out there and what it is that you're saying, and it gets easier and easier to understand what that is. And having a conversation like this with interesting people is a great way of just exposing people to the community. I know that I'll be following up with you and, having a connection, and we'll be doing some stuff together. And if I hadn't had this show, what's the chances that we would be a connection and do something together like this?
Probably smaller. Hang on. I get my lawn care guys are rolling around that, so if there's noise in the background, that's what it is.
That's a requirement for every podcast, right?
It's a live broadcast, exactly. But yeah, that's the thing. It's such a great network. Like you just the 20 people or 15 people you gave shout outs to are all across the country.
Yeah.
And you were on Periscope and Facebook or Twitter and Facebook and then LinkedIn here, and then YouTube. It's so easy to build a community, everybody. And most people think you need to have thousands of followers. And that's so far from the truth. If you've got 20 people that watch your show or one person that watches your show that you have an impact on, one is greater than none, everybody. And I got that from Gary Vaynerchuk years ago. I don't ever expect my videos to go viral. Yeah. If I can help one person a day in some sort of fashion, I can, make fun of myself and lighten the load or share some nugget that's important to me. It's probably important to a lot of other people out there. Yeah. And it's like I said, if you don't want to use video, don't use video. If you want to use audio, but just show up. And that's the thing is if you don't do it, somebody else will. Yeah. All right, everybody. And it might as well be you. And it's the whole Saturday Night Live skits. I'm smart enough and people like me, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and people like me.
Dang it. Yeah, people like you. And your feet reach the ground. Oh, you're all the way to the ground. It's so funny. And it's like Seth Godin said, pick yourself, just pick yourself. You have permission. You're granted permission right now. It's like done. You got it. This has been wonderful, Scott. I really appreciate the fact, and it's always a blast. And it's a great way for me to start my day and, share somebody's personality and presence and their ability and opportunity to help others in the world. And I know that there's probably a lot of things that you could do, and we could talk for another hour on, marketing and media and generating content and repurposing content and things like that. So maybe you'll have to have, another pirate broadcast in the future. However, I do want to ask you, what's the one thing that you want to leave with the audience today that some nugget of knowledge that they can go away with and say, that's a good idea.
So here's the thing, everybody. No matter what you're doing, the only thing that you guarantee by not trying is failure. That's the only thing that you'll guarantee by not taking action on whatever it is failure. You'll never get beyond where you're at. So at least try. Go out and give it college effort. Go out and give it something to try, whether it is launching this or it's doing something new, or just do something. Get your butt in the game. Nobody wins anything from sitting on the sidelines. And so that's the thing I would tell you, no matter what it is. And if you're struggling, reach out. Like I said, always open to talking with people, helping counsel anybody, give them some options of where they can go. But get your butt in the game and go do something.
Yeah. I appreciate that more than you know, Scott. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and what you're doing. And, right now is the best time to invest in yourself too. Invest in the opportunities you have. Man, we're just getting pummeled today. Just invest in yourself and take the time and energy to learn a skill that's going to help you move forward regardless of what's going on around us. So, this is something that you can do, and it's needed and necessary. So thank you. Kindness is cool. Smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll do this again, Scott. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about,